Good evening and welcome to Mandell and Friends. I am Tensie J. Taylor, your guest host, filling in for Mandell, and you are in for such a treat today. I have the beautiful, talented entrepreneur, Miss Adrian Anderson, two-time Grammy-nominated, two-time Dove Award-winning gospel group, Trin-i-Tee 5-7, humanitarian, artist manager, makeup artist, entrepreneur, inspirational speaker. What don't you do?
You know, Tensie, thank you so much. I appreciate that. When you list those things, I think of it being a true and accurate portrait of when you want a career and when you have different talents and gifts, it's important that you use the right gift at the right time and that you have a broader perspective of what that career is. Because there's a growth and there's an evolution. If you're paying attention, there's a growth and there's an evolution, and you should be able to advance, right? And when you're talking about a career in music, which is really overall entertainment, it's to your benefit if you can be valuable in more than one position.
Right.
And you also grow and you find yourself wanting to create in a range of ways, certainly through song and writing, but then you want to get involved in more production, and then you start realizing how you can leverage the things you've learned to help the community, right? And things that you grew up wanting to do. Yes. And then things start coming to you, you know, and then you realize there are other artists you can help who, if they have the right mentality, you can help them have a perspective that they're just not going to have, they come in solely focused on one thing. And for a career, a truly long-term career, you need to know more than one thing and when to do what.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of career, you were a member of the group Trin-i-Tee 5-7, gospel group, sold 12.5 million records at one point. Several of your albums were #1 for gospel records. Before we talk about your experiences being in that group, what led you to singing? I know I did my research on you. At 5 years old, you already started writing songs and singing. What was that experience like at such a young age to know that you wanted to write and sing? Share with us.
I tell you what, at 5, you know, I remember waking up and I was like, I have to write this down. I remember being excited because I learned how to spell. Because then I could say what was inside my heart.
Right.
So my sister Andrea would teach us words and teach us like school when we weren't at school. They wanted to be our older sisters wanted to be our teachers. So I would get excited about learning new words because I want to write these words down. And I was like, I have songs to write. Like I would wake up like I have to write this down, and that led to just songs and poetry and just knowing that there's things inside of me I want to express, and I need to know how to express them.
Right.
So reading and words and learning what they were, it constantly opened doors for me and just blossomed the world to me because it was like, oh, now I know how to convey this.
Yes.
You know, and so it was waking up being excited, you know, and then think, okay, well, how do I get this out of me? And that was through painting and drawings, those creative mediums that just were very natural for me. I think when you're young, you're in your innocent state.
Yes.
So your gifts are there. True. And also from watching television, I saw like, you know, very, you know, women in groups traveling and dancing and singing, and I thought, oh, that's just wonderful. And my mom sang, so it was just things that just was natural for me and our family. My grandmother sang in the choir.
Oh, wow.
So all of us started singing in church at a very young age.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was just normal to do.
Yeah.
You know?
So being a member of Trin-i-Tee 5-7, what did you find most rewarding? I'm sure there were challenges that you and the group faced at time. What did you enjoy most about singing? Was it uplifting God's praises, doing what you love to do? What was it?
It was the beauty of knowing God heard my heart. And it came at a time when I wasn't looking for it. I began as a professional makeup artist because that's still a medium of creativity.
Right.
And I thought I was actually done with groups for the most part, but God had one more group for me.
Wow.
He had Trin-i-Tee 5-7.
Yes.
And I got to know the ladies from working for the label and doing makeup for all the artists, Kirk Franklin and every group that came along with him. So I was part of the label in that regard. And then when they asked me to join the group, that was another unforeseen blessing, and I had gifts that I could contribute.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, you know, I felt that I was supposed to do this. I had to, they had to wait for an answer from me because I thought, well, I'm going to build a beauty company. I'm going to do these things. And they're like, well, did God tell you yet? And so eventually I said, oh, yeah, he said I could do it. And it was just out of the blue. They asked me to sing one day, and we had already been spending time together. I just was exposing them to LA. And I know when I would leave the set, they say, oh, are you coming to pick us up later? And I realized they didn't understand that when work is over, like we all go our separate ways. And they were like, will you come pick us up later? I was like, well, yeah, I will come get you later. You know, and that led to a rapport and a friendship. And then because I do write, and I grew up writing and performing, it was a beautiful outlet. And I can say truly touching people and contributing to light being in the world, there's no feeling like that. I really love people. I really love people rising to their higher selves. I really love encouraging people. I really love nurturing people to a place they realize there's a brighter tomorrow. And when you're in that brightness, to embrace it and be able to know from whence you came, and that nothing's here to stay, it all passes, and you can't give up, and you can celebrate, be it in dancing or in crying, just knowing how good he is. So it's something that to this day our songs are played around the world, and it's a beautiful expression of your soul to know that you're touching souls, and you do contribute to light in the world.
You are a light, and Adrian is absolutely a phenomenal person. I actually met her interviewing you on the red carpet at the First Lady's High Tea, and you had such a genuine spirit about you, and we were talking and everything, and I said, wait a minute, do you have some southernness in you? And I was doing some information on your background, and come to find out your grandmother lived in Texas, because you have the yes ma'am and the no sirs, and so your mother and grandmother really played an instrumental role in helping to shape who you are.
Very much so. My grandmother.
What was some wisdom that they shared with you growing up?
Well, I have to give my grandparents, my grandmother and grandfather, Lloyd and Jewel Logan. She's our Mama Jewel. I know it's Papa Lloyd. Just that foundation of personal dignity. And, you know, when you're coming up, you just know that they're an authority. They love us. They care for us. And my grandmother was very adamant about compassion, adamant about respect. So we only knew yes sir, no sir. It's still to this day, it's hard for me to call like a senior citizen by their first name. Like, you know, people say, oh, just call me, you know. I always have to ask them because I feel like I'm going to get in trouble.
I do the same thing.
It's like a little thing. But I appreciate that because it was a matter of developing us to have a sense of respect, you know, and to have a personal dignity about yourself, and to care that, you know, people died and sacrificed for you to be called by your name. For you to walk in your dignity without someone assaulting you. You know, we are the recipients of that. And to always understand the value of walking in your majesty. You know, walk in your majesty. You have your DNA, and I thank my God for my grandmother and mother who were compassionate and regal. And my mother's very glamorous and adventurous, and you know, my grandmother was very disciplined, but beautiful and caring, and they had such different personalities, and yet so much of them was the same when it came to love. And so that's what I feel I learned from them, that as you rise and as you live in this life, whatever you can do, and don't compare what you can do to someone else's. Whether it's a sandwich, whether it's a gift, donation, gas money, whatever you can do, do that with honor and with gratitude that you can do it. You know, and that you're thoughtful of someone else. And achieve the highest goals with no apologies, make no excuse or apology for your success. Just don't forget those who are just in need of a little help along the way, because that's going to elevate you further in peace of mind and prosperity than anything you toil after.
You have such a beautiful light. It shines through. Like when I first met you, I mean, she just has this light, just effervescent, and this beautiful spirit. And that greatly contributes to your work with charities and different boards and organizations that you sit on. So you are part of the Alexandria House. You help with the Midnight Mission and the Ronald McDonald House. How did you get involved with these charities?
Well, I spoke with my manager, Nicole Hayward of Creative Classic Agency, who I've been with for years. And I always wanted to operate in partnership with her and say, you know, these are things that I really care about and want to do. And I actually did a speaking tour and included Ronald McDonald House and, you know, there with the patients, homeless shelters. In North Carolina, I did that. The YWCA and really go out there and see what the conditions are. It's important that you have firsthand information and then see how you can impact it. It's amazing what a kind word can do. And when you can give that and give encouragement, and at the same time, when you can give more, whether it's food or finances, because it all matters. Like sometimes people go back and forth. I'm like, it's all welcome and it all matters.
Yes.
Because if you have to impact lives, you have to impact lives so that people don't just give up. You know, they have to hold on and then they have to become strong. That is certainly due to, you know, my grandmother was in her 90s and they had a place called Saturday House where one Saturday every, I think it was every 2 weeks in Denton, Texas, everything's free. So she'd go out in the street and say, come on, you know, come in the house. You need diapers, you need, you know, furniture, you need this. And I loved that. My grandmother took me to work with her. I have 5 siblings where she was a caretaker at a home, and I would see her paint the toenails of people, senior citizens, you know, and while they're in the bed and care for them. And, you know, I'm honored that me and my sisters were able to care for her before she left the world. I was able to massage her feet, you know, and thank her for everything.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate knowing that it matters how you affect this world. Yes. It matters that you are considerate and thoughtful. It matters that when you see ugliness, you do not become ugly.
Yes.
You just see what not to become. It matters that you can make someone's day. And it may not be anything but a sandwich, food, gas money, but it's major to them.
Yes.
So it's major to them. You don't let anyone make you make that a minor thing.
I love that about you. And your theme of kindness, love, and glamour. Let's talk about that for a minute, especially with what's transpiring in the world today with all the negativity and the hatred. I feel like we don't love each other enough. We don't have enough sympathy or empathy. So this whole kindness and love and glamour, I mean, I feel like when people get dressed up and feel beautiful, they have a little extra air of confidence. It makes them feel great about themselves. How did you come up with that theme of kindness, love, and glamour?
It truly embodied everything my mother, Juanita, taught me because she was my first movie star. My mother was so glamorous. I remember being 3 years old watching her put lashes on and lipstick and talking to herself in a mirror. And now I know it's affirmations, but then I didn't know what it was. She was just like, you are gorgeous. You are sexual. I was like, oh my goodness, she's amazing. And so to me, I thought, oh, when she leaves here, she's a movie star. That must be what she does.
Yes.
You know, so that's where the glamour comes into place. And then also, I watched my mom be dressed up and get ready to go places, and she stopped by and feed someone, or she leaves something, oh, so-and-so's going to come by, leave them this, or, you know, she never forgot, you know, and that was the love. Love my grandmother taught us, you know, at St. Emmanuel Baptist Church growing up, just in the community. My mother would go places, and whether it was on her way to Vegas or Tahoe, and she knew so many people, and I'm like, how does she know these people? Because she's like, oh, I give this lady this, that, or she took a friend of hers, oh, they take all their donuts and they donate them after this time, so when they come back from Vegas, they get donuts for their kids and her family. And so I learned having access to information and being resourceful means that some blessings come to you, but some come through you. So my mom, when she knew about things, she would share the information. And that's where that comes from. Understanding that you reap what you sow, right?
True.
And when you want a good life for yourself, want a good life for other people. You know, it's never just about you, right? So you can have the most amazing life experiences, and you have every right to enjoy those things. So they're for you, they're just not just for you. Right? Some things are just for you, but most things are for you to share. And everything's better when it's shared genuinely. Right? So I remember the first time I met you, and I was impressed with you, thinking, here's a young woman. You know, I can see myself when I first started. I'm trying to figure out, you know, the opportunities and which way to go. When they come, okay, I'm going to show up. Do I have everything I need? And I'm watching you in your majesty, in your young majesty, you know, and you're being professional and you have yourself together. And I remember that because I encourage that. I encourage success. I encourage dignity. I encourage be above belittling people. You know, it's not cute and it's not beneficial.
It's not.
Understand the value of what really progresses and elevates a situation, a household, a family, a community. I couldn't work in so many different areas that I've worked in being difficult. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to stand your ground at things, but you don't have to be tear down things that actually limit what really is going to bring you up. You have to have respect for people.
You mentioned encourage to success. I mean, that's something we can all use. Encouragement, a kind word, a prayer, a hug, a phone call. You are an inspirational and motivational speaker. If there's a beautiful young lady that's watching this show today, what advice would you tell her to help instill her self-confidence, her self-esteem, her self-respect? Because you are a true role model, well, not only with your actions, but how you help people, and you have this beautiful spirit about yourself. What advice would you give to her?
I would say to know your value by developing your value, right? Know your value because you're here. You know, you're alive. You have your family and friends and whoever your loved ones are in your life. So know that it has a value to it, but increase your value. You must develop yourself. Like, there are things that are aspirational, but there are things that are practical. And you must understand being practical. You know, my family, we grew up, I was 12 years old paying the light bill. And my mom would say, this is how you get a money order. Then they had money orders, right? This is how you do this. And I know our friends, they're in school, they're like, what are you doing? But those were tools for, look, this is life. You know, I remember my mom would take the light switch and turn it on and off and say, this is not free. This is not free. I don't want you to come home and think the lights just come on. They don't just come on. There's a price that's paid for this. This is how a household is ran. And so, you know, I bought my own car when I graduated high school, and the practical things matter. And the more you develop yourself and diversify your skill sets, the more you're going to have independence, empowerment, and the more you're going to be able to live a life where you don't have to compromise things about yourself out of desperation. You want to be empowered, and you want to empower your friends and your friend circle. So that's why I'm particular about not belittling anyone. I'm going to encourage you. And if we can't be in that same space, then we will be apart, because you have to be people who want to evolve and not have petty jealousies. Right? We all have to get there. We all have to rise. We all have to succeed to contribute to the greater good that's going to evolve things for everyone to rise, for your community to be better, for there to be greater opportunities. There's nothing like gaining something and it not being what you really thought it was going to be, when it could have been better had it been enriched along the way. So don't be a person who wants the results and wants the reward of the work without going through the process.
I love that. Diversifying your skill sets. I mean, you have done so much, from getting your start in the entertainment industry by being a makeup artist, a singer, being nominated for Grammys, inspirational speaker, businesswoman, guest blog columnist. I have to say, I'm so excited that I'm dressed like you. This was not planned at all. Great minds think alike. She's a fashionista, so the fact that I even considered this outfit and we were in the same thing speaks volumes. So share with us about being a columnist for beauty blogs and for Halo to Beauty, the family business. How did that evolve?
Well, really that came from sharing my interests. You know, when I became a recording artist, I didn't just say, oh, okay, I have nothing to do with makeup anymore. It was a matter of, hey, you know, these are the things that people would ask me about. And so with my manager and product manager at the time, Nicole Hayward, I was like, you know, Sheila, would you be interested in doing those? I said, I would. These are what I want to do. Like, I would get magazines and say, how do you get that? I want to do this. I want to contribute. I have ideas. And I would say to talent out there, it's important that you go do research. You go find out things you're interested in and then bring them to whoever your team is and say, I want to do this. How do I do this? You have to come with some ideas of your own, and in knowing who you are. You have to understand the importance of you co-creating your career and your participation, and then your respect of everyone that's included in that. So part of your skill sets is research, right? And then any other interests you have, you speak up about those things, but then be ready to deliver on those things when the opportunities come. So I was always very open. And when I said I want to do this, fortunately I had a good team that was like, okay, we can get that for you. So speak about the things you want, then do the research of what you need to do to show that you learn, that you're a good study. You know, talent can show up, but it takes a professional that can do the true work that allows you to go in front of the camera. And it's in your best interest to learn what those skill sets are, because sometimes all you're going to have is just you, or you and a friend. And you can't be there, you know, dumbfounded because, well, you only know how to do one thing. If you're sincere and you're serious about it, you'll learn. Whether that's computers or different programs, I have a thirst and a hunger for knowledge and information and how things work, the componentry of things, and how that creates production. I used to work for MTV for a number of years, and for a show that they had a few years ago. And growing up and working for them, which was actually when I first started, I learned this is what a production is, right? This is what a production is. Oh, people work together and everyone has a very important role. Oh, so when you're looking at it from that perspective, you have a greater respect for it. I think when it comes to administrative skills, they are critical because they're very much needed. And I would say this also, lastly, never be afraid to get a job when you're pursuing a career in entertainment, whether it's music and your talent. Never be afraid. Embrace that so you can leverage that to ensure that you can take care of you as you go and create other opportunities and prepare yourself for other opportunities. Don't buy into you can't be seen working. What you don't want to be is seen not working, and then here you are in dire circumstances because you haven't put forth the effort that you need to put out to do everything you can for yourself. And then what people can do for you. But you've got to be your first priority of what you're going to do for you.
Yes, very powerful. First priority, great information. This is a question that I really am curious to know. Your faith, how you carry yourself, very classy, very poised individual. How do you stay grounded in Hollywood? Because Hollywood can be a dog-eat-dog world. People want you to change, different vibes. How do you stay true to Adrian Anderson?
Because I don't want the things that I desire and that I don't want at all cost. I want at the right cost of what I'm supposed to do, but I don't want it at all cost. And I've been around long enough to see the difference, wanting it at all costs as far as not having any concern of how you get it can be extremely detrimental for you and those around you and people, and you can be the stumbling block in your own career.
Right.
You have to be very careful about getting a little bit of victory or a little bit of success and then thinking you can be just dismissive of everyone, because that doesn't speak to your career, it speaks to your character.
Very true.
So, and that time will pass, and you won't always be the flavor of the month. Those things change very fast. So I want my careers, I want my opportunities and the purpose that God has for me, that He's constantly revealing. I want it at the price God has for me, but not at all costs that's aside from that.
Right.
So I don't feel I have to destroy or diminish anyone to achieve my goals and my purpose. And at the same time, I don't have to tolerate nonsense, right? So you have to know when to be amenable and flexible and how to collaborate. You must be a great collaborator. Yet you have to know what you're good at standing on your own for.
Right.
And you have to be able to say no to things when you may want to say yes, but my mother used to talk about the dangling of the golden carrot. Be very careful of what is dangled before you that's going to reel you in. So once you get used to understanding that all that glitters is not gold, that even when you accomplish it, then you're going to want to accomplish something else. But if you lose your value system and your integrity, you've lost everything. So it's okay to have your goals, go for it, dream, be willing to do the work for it, collaborate and build. But when you're willing to undermine a whole lot of people to get it, you're never going to achieve that which you're seeking. You're going to find yourself in a situation that you may or may not recover from. And I've just seen a lot of that. I've seen a lot of victory, thank you, Lord. Amen. But I've also seen a lot of defeat from people who were willing to compromise and really be hurtful for something they thought they were going to get, and never got.
What is next for you?
Well, I think because there's more of a whole lot of the all to do. I am now managing an artist. Her name is Zeal. I manage her with Mac Trigstad. She is a Christian artist and also pop inspirational, R&B inspirational artist.
Okay.
She is a delight and a pleasure. I'm currently educating her. It's not about rushing to get out. It's about truly understanding what the platform is for her and what her responsibilities are and what she wants to reflect out into the world. So it feels good to be able to oversee this, right, and nurture it and mentor it. And, talk about all hands on deck. I can a co-manager for my business partner. I do her makeup, create the, set and themes. And that's when you pull everything together to create what it is that you're building with quality. That also continue to work with Alexandria House.
Okay.
And helping the women there who are graduating from the homelessness to their own home with them and their children. Do more philanthropy. Keep sharing kindness, love, and glamour. And it's just amazing what's able to be done. I want to thank Nicole Hayward of Creative Classic Agency, and she can be reached at nicole@creativeclassic.com.
Okay.
And that's what's ahead of me. More songwriting,
Okay.
putting Zeal's project out, and being able to contribute to the world through charitable things.
There's no doubt in my mind you're going to continue to change the world, and I just want to thank you for your time, your talent, and your treasure, for sharing your story and empowering all of our viewers today. And it was a pleasure to have you on the show, and it was an honor to be able to interview you. And Mandell, again, I thank you for the opportunity to be your guest host for today, and want to give a special thank you to our sponsor, Women of Prominence. Without you all, this show would not be possible. So bravo, kudos, thank you for this opportunity. And make sure you tune in for the next show. Mandell will be returning, but he will be interviewing actress and comedian Coco Brown. So make sure you watch, because you don't want to miss this. Thank you again, Adrian. Wishing you all a wonderful week. Have a good night, and God bless.